The Atlantic recently posted a very, very, very stupid article. I mean, you've got to try so hard to be this stupid, folks. Written by Helen Lewis, called "The Women Killed by the Dobbs Decision." Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. That's the Supreme Court decision that overturned Roe versus Wade. So you see the Dobbs decision, the overturning of Roe, it's killing women, pregnant women. So you see it's pro-lifers' fault. When you slightly protect the unborn and abortion becomes slightly less difficult to obtain, women die. Wait, we've been hearing that one for decades, that if you ban abortion, women will be forced to get abortions anyways. I don't know who's forcing them. I guess they're doing it themselves. And they're going to go get more dangerous forms of abortion. And so they're going to die. And so their deaths should be laid at the feet of the pro-life movement. Oh my gosh, when you protect babies, moms die? I didn't know that. Is that because like childbirth is more dangerous than abortion? Yeah, those are the lies that have been being spread about banning abortion for decades. It's nothing new. We're going to actually read through a part of this article at The Atlantic, debunk the lies, and give you the truth about what the liberal establishment and the abortion industry doesn't want you to know about, because then their entire charade might be exposed in the lead up to an election that they're all saying will be a referendum on abortion. We'll get into all of it here on the show. Welcome to the Seth Gruber Show. Welcome back to the show, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Listen, with the overturning of Roe versus Wade, we know that there have been so many lies spread by the activist media. Okay, let's use the phrase we use here at the Seth Gruber Show, shall we? For the activist media, they are journalistic prostitutes for the culture of death. Okay, that is their main priority. They are driven by ideology and carrying water for the liberal establishment and the lies that they propagate and foist onto the American people. That's what they're driven by, okay? This pipe dream that Americans still have of an old era, 80 years ago, where journalists were journalists and cared more about the truth than placating to either side of the political aisle. By the way, I'm not sure exactly how true that ever was. Everyone has biases. It's just way worse today than it's ever been before, certainly in our country. Okay? I mean, like the lies that have been spread by the activist media on abortion safety. That's such a weird phrase. Abortion's never safe because it slaughters babies. So it turns out it's not safe to kill people. I know that's sort of a shocker, but what they mean by abortion safety is they mean to women, right? To the mothers. Like, it's not safe for the baby, but is it safe for the mother? The lies that they spread about that kind of stuff. I mean, like, we're going to respond to an article right now from The Atlantic that was posted on Wednesday, September 18th, about how the overturning of Roe versus Wade, you know, it actually killed women. It killed women. So it's white pro-life Republican men who are responsible for killing pregnant women. And so when you can't kill babies through abortion, it increases the maternal mortality rate. Because don't you know, when moms can't kill their children, they die. And of course, not in every case, but they'll elevate these cases and they'll say this is going to happen more and more and more. So we're going to respond to this article in just one second. But just so you're aware of how shocking the lies are that have been spread by the abortion industry and their lackeys, right? They're paid prostitutes in the activist media. I want to give you one example of exactly how bad it is and how this works. Okay. After the overturning of Roe versus Wade, remember June 2022, as many states were moving to ban abortion, because thankfully now states can ban abortion with the overturning of Roe versus Wade, the abortion industry and many left-wing groups, including left-wing secular billionaires, began to fund a lot of the campaigns to enshrine abortion as a state constitutional right. You're aware that this is the battle going on right now, right? Like, this is where the whole fight is right now, okay? It's like my home state where I live now in Kansas, like, shocked the country by voting against the preborn, by saying, no, we want to keep this a Kansas constitutional right. Michigan has done the same. Ohio has done the same. Obviously, California has done the same. And now they're pushing to get these abortion amendments in Colorado, Idaho, Florida, Missouri, so on and so forth, because they recognize that if conservatives move to ban abortion at the state level and they get a large enough coalition of conservatives doing that simultaneously in different states, that we could build a large enough coalition to make abortion very hard to get in America until we eventually ban it at the federal level. So the goal then from the radical left, okay, and from the secular moral revolutionaries is to, hey, let's get it as a constitutional right in as many state constitutions as possible. You know that states have their own constitutions, right? So that all pro-life legislative efforts are dead on arrival. Do you understand that? Like, if Kansas says abortion is a constitutional right in our state, then any pro-life laws that are, like, floated, it's like, well, if that violates the state constitution, then it doesn't, like in California, it's like abortion is legal through point of birth. And it's now in the California state constitution. So it makes all pro-life legislative efforts dead on arrival. In that crazy, like, political climate of 2022, the lie that took off like nothing I've ever seen before, and this bridges into this current lie that we're going to cover from this very stupid article from The Atlantic. The lie that took off and even actually deceived people who call themselves pro-life was this. Ready for this? Y'all might remember this one, okay? It's so shocking, right? Here's what Trump meant by fake news and enemy of the people. Okay, get ready. Don't you know, Americans, that in states that have banned abortion, oh my gosh, after the overturning of Roe v. Wade, do you know what that means? That means if a mom has a miscarriage, right? And so the baby's already dead because of a tragedy of nature, that the mom who now has a dead fetus in her uterus, she can't get a removal of the miscarried baby because the surgical procedure that would be used to remove the miscarried, dead, unborn child is called a D&C, which is a dilation and curettage. And a D&C is what we call a form of abortion procedures. So I guess if you really have your head so far up your own rectum, it's coming out your face again. Like if you really think deeply about it, then that's an abortion, which means that in a state that's banned abortion, moms who have miscarried their babies can't have the baby removed because the procedure that would be used to remove the baby, that's technically an abortion if you're really stupid. And so what pro-life white Republicans are trying to do is make miscarrying mothers have their fetus rot in their uterus, causing sepsis, infection, and death, because that's what real pro-lifers want. I don't know if you guys remember that. I do. I do remember that lie being spread. I also remember a similar lie about ectopic pregnancies. Do you remember this one? An ectopic pregnancy is when the baby implants in the fallopian tube instead of the uterine wall. And so as the baby begins to grow, the fallopian tube expands until it bursts and mom bleeds out internally. So in an ectopic pregnancy, you can't save both mother and child. So you either remove the baby from the fallopian tube and save mom's life. That leads tragically to the death of the child, or you do nothing and both mom and baby die. So it's better to save one life by acting than lose two lives by refraining from acting. But that's not an abortion. The procedure to remove the baby from the fallopian tube is either called a salpingectomy or a salpingostomy. So it has different surgical procedural names because it's not an abortion. But the other lie was that same thing, right? In a state that's banned abortion after the overturning of Roe v. Wade, don't you know what white Republican men want to do to control women's bodies? If that is a mom has an ectopic pregnancy, well, don't you know, according to the new pro-life laws, she can't get the baby removed from the fallopian tube because technically that's an abortion. No, it's not. And so I literally had, listen to this, I had like one or two pro-life friends of mine who I kind of felt that I failed as a friend because the question they asked was like so stupid that I was like, I think I failed you as a friend if you don't know the answer to that question. I had some pro-life friends, one in particular, who texted me and said, Seth, is it true that in a state that would ban abortion after the overturning of Roe, that a woman couldn't have a ectopic pregnancy baby removed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these lies are actually influencing so-called Christians, conservatives, and pro-lifers. Those were the lies that were being dumped into the culture and into the activist media, which will lead us in just one second to this article from The Atlantic, that was so effective that it even persuaded people who otherwise would have voted to protect the preborn. And I believe it was actually, there were millions of dollars dumped by Planned Parenthood and other left-wing groups into where I live in Kansas to actually like feed those lies. And I believe that one of the reasons that some people who would otherwise normally be completely pro-life voted against protecting the preborn in Kansas is because of some of those lies. They're like, oh, well, I'm pro-life, but oh my gosh, is that true what I read? Is that true that a mom with an ectopic pregnancy is gonna have to die on the altar of pro-life legislative efforts because that's technically an abortion to remove the baby? and Planned Parenthood jumped into overdrive, by the way, to give credence and the appearance of solidity to these lies. Let me prove it to you, okay? I covered this, I believe, in 2022. If you go way back on the show, when it was still called Unaborted, okay? Go way back on the Seth Gruber Show. But listen, in the heated climate, right after the overturning of Roe versus Wade, Planned Parenthood removed a line from their own stinking website in order to help bolster and give the appearance of intellectual rigor to those lies. What lies? The lies that these women who with miscarried babies or ectopic pregnancies are going to have to die because the treatment to remove the baby is technically an abortion. No, it's not. And so pro-life Republicans want to kill women. Yeah, they want to kill women, right? Okay. There was a line that Planned Parenthood had on their website. I actually have on my computer the screenshot of the line and then the screenshot of the edited, curated line that was just taken off the Planned Parenthood website. What was that line? Planned Parenthood had on their own website before the overturning of Roe versus Wade this statement: treatment for ectopic pregnancy is fundamentally different than treatment for abortion. Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you. We know that. You freaking journalistic prostitutes, you child sacrifice, Baal, baby killer demon worshipers. Yes, we all know that. Guys, in the 1960s, before the first states legalized abortion, 1970 would be the year that states started legalizing abortion. In the 60s, did you know, shocker, get ready, I know this is gonna blow your socks off, that in a state where abortion was illegal, if a mom miscarried, I know, get ready, it's shocking, they would do something to remove the miscarried baby. Maybe even some form of a DNC, because to leave the baby, the dead baby who's already passed away, rotting in mom's uterus could eventually kill mom. But it's that very kind of treatment that the left was saying won't be allowed anymore in states that have banned abortion after the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Guess what line Planned Parenthood removed from their website? The line that said treatment for ectopic pregnancy is fundamentally different than treatment for abortion. Oh, that's such a strange time to choose to remove that line from your website in the very month and season in which the left and the journalistic prostitutes at the Atlantic and the New York Times and the Washington Post, where democracy dies in darkness, were creating darkness in the American consciousness to lie to them that moms with ectopic pregnancies would be forced to have their fallopian tubes burst and die on the altar of pro-life Republican laws. Planned Parenthood removed a line from their website admitting what I know and what you know and what most Americans used to know, that removing a baby from the uterus because it's dead or from the fallopian tube because it cannot live there, okay, is not the same as an abortion. But they removed that line from their website, lest Americans start fact-checking those lies that they were hearing and discovering that Planned Parenthood itself says it's all BS. That's what we mean by journalistic prostitutes for the culture of death. That's what we mean by carrying water for the liberal establishment, okay? That's what we're talking about. So my point is, we've seen these kind of lies before, and it's nothing new. We just did an episode recently responding to the debate lies, right? From the Kamala Harris-Trump debate, where the moderators and Kamala Harris herself are like, third trimester abortions don't happen. Kamala Harris was like, that doesn't happen, okay? These people lie about this stuff all the time. This leads us to an article from The Atlantic, which was posted on September 18th, the morning of September 18th. Here's what it's called. It's called "The Women Killed by the Dobbs Decision." What? Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that laws that protected the preborn, really, if you really think about it, they actually kill the preborn's mother. And the subtitle is "An Avoidable and Predictable Tragedy in Georgia." It was predictable? Really? But Republican men just wanted to kill pregnant women? By Helen Lewis, okay, who I can only imagine is a complete freaking idiot, okay? A freaking idiot. Or she's not an idiot, she's very cunning, and she knows that this kind of reporting is very helpful to spread the lies that allow the left to label the other side of the political aisle hands-made tale chauvinist bigots that want to sacrifice the lives of savable mothers on the altar of protecting the preborn. Ooh. This article is incredibly dumb. I felt like I was losing brain cells while watching it. So, The Atlantic, "The Women Killed by the Dobbs Decision." Let's read this flaming pile of excrement, and we're going to respond to it. And like we do here at the Seth Gruber Show, we're going to fact check, and actually give you the history and some of the truth behind these lies. And we're going to bring the receipts and point to the studies that debunk a lot of this stuff. Okay, you guys ready? Let's get into it. All right, by Helen Lewis. Ready? "Some tragedies are impossible to prevent or even to predict. The death of Amber Nicole Thurman was not. She was perhaps the first woman killed by the overturning of Roe v. Wade." There it is, okay? So what's this article gonna say? Pro-lifers are killing pregnant women. Oh, sorry, pregnant people. Shoot, gosh, I just used gendered language. Sorry, pregnant people, because I guess men can give birth out of their urethra. I forgot, sorry. That's what our HHS, Health and Human Services Department, and their Assistant Secretary, Richard Levine, tells us that it's pregnant people now. So you see, pro-lifers want to kill women who are pregnant because protecting the preborn, sometimes it actually kills women. So that's what this article is going to argue. You ready? Are you ready? All right, stick your head up your butt. Here we go. In June 2022, the Supreme Court ruling in Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization removed the constitutional right to an abortion guaranteed by Roe. As a result, individual states reverted to their own laws. In Georgia, where Thurman lived, abortions became illegal from the time when a detectable human heartbeat was present, around 6 weeks into pregnancy. By the way, the heart starts beating at 21 days, but it's detectable by 6 weeks. So when it's a detectable human heartbeat, really has nothing to do with it. What matters is like the heart is beating at 21 days. Even that doesn't grant you personhood or right to life. Your humanity and your rights come from the fact that you're a human being, and human beings come into existence at the moment of conception. The article says the law came into effect in late July of that year, at the same time that Thurman, a 28-year-old medical student, discovered she was 6 weeks pregnant with twins. Thanks to ProPublica, which obtained Thurman's medical records with her family's permission, we can see what happened next. All right, here it comes. Here's a tragedy, right? Because of why? Because of pro-lifers, right? She already had a 6-year-old son and decided that she could not raise 2 more children. But she couldn't get a termination in her home state. And so she scheduled a surgical abortion in North Carolina, took a day off work, hired a babysitter, borrowed a relative's car on a false pretext, got up at 4 a.m. to drive 4 hours with a friend to the clinic. But they hit traffic and Thurman missed her appointment. The clinic could not give her another time slot because so many women from out of state, also facing tough new laws, were booked on that day. You see how The Atlantic is already framing this, by the way, right? This is important to point out, like, how our journalistic betters even frame the conversation, right? Like, it's such a tragedy, right? Oh, these poor women, they're having to drive out of state because they're facing tough laws. oh, these poor mothers. It's like, no, you're so willing, you have so much murder in your heart that you're willing to travel hours to kill your baby while you hire a babysitter to watch your other children who had the benefit and privilege of having you not kill them in utero. So Thurman was prescribed abortion pills instead. That says The Atlantic. Oh, so she's going to use the poison pill instead of a surgical abortion. These are widely used and overwhelmingly safe and effective for early pregnancies. Really? They're overwhelmingly safe and effective for early pregnancies? We'll get into some of these lies in a second, okay? In less than 5% of cases, though, women need another dose or a procedure called dilation and curettage, D&C, to empty the uterus completely. Oh, to empty the uterus. Oh, okay. I thought a dilation and curettage was like, you know, when you were like suctioning and like ripping and like killing the baby. It's just emptying the uterus. Okay. By the way, let me pause really quick here. George Orwell has an incredible article called Politics in the English Language. And he says political language is designed to make lies sound truthful, murder respectable, and to give the appearance of solidity to pure wind. Okay? That's what political correctness and language is designed to do. So when they say empty the uterus completely, just know that this is how the left has always operated. They understand that language shapes the way we think and it colors the way we see the world. And so if you can redefine everything and you can actually get the culture in the country to begin using different words, a different lexicon, to describe what our forefathers would have described in much more heinous and articulate and accurate language, then you can actually change how the culture thinks about and responds to those issues. Language is incredibly powerful, okay? Journalist Paul Greenberg coined a succinct axiom. He said, verbicide precedes homicide. Verbicide precedes homicide. It's the distortion by euphemism of language to blunt or camouflage the truth about the real killing that they want to do. Okay, so never forget the power of language. The Atlantic continues and says, in countries and states where abortion is legal, this is a simple procedure that carries little risk, but not in Georgia. Back home, Thurman's bleeding would not stop. So what they're saying is she started the abortion pill and now she's bleeding. She went to the hospital at 6:51 p.m. on August 18th, and the medical examination showed all the classic signs that her abortion was incomplete. Yes, pause, okay, that is a risk of the abortion pill, is it can lead to incomplete abortions, which means like floating baby pieces in your uterus, like not all the pieces came out. Now here's a solution. Follow with me on this one. I know this is a little bit crazy. Don't kill your children and you won't put yourself in a dangerous position where your own body is endangered. Oh, wow. The article continues. The tissue remaining inside her was poisoning her blood. The tissue, what they mean is baby pieces. But doctors did not give her a D&C, nor did they do so the next morning, as her condition continued to worsen. When she was finally taken to the operating theater at 2 p.m., her condition was so bad that doctors started to remove her bowel and uterus. But it was too late. Thurman's heart stopped on the operating table. So pause really quickly. I mean, obviously, it's tragic that a mother died. But notice the way that the Atlantic even frames the conversation regarding abortion. Right? It's like this mother needed an abortion. She had to drive to North Carolina, but she missed her appointment. So she took the abortion pill. But because the abortion pill is actually not safe for women, and we'll get into that in just one second, it led to an incomplete abortion, and the doctors didn't perform a D&C to remove the pieces of the children. And so she died, and so her life is the fault of pro-lifers. Because they banned abortion and she was forced. She was forced to drive to North Carolina. Notice how sexist most pro-choicers are. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsor of the Seth Gruber Show, Every Life Diaper Company. Every Life Diaper. I'm telling you every week, over and over again, if you're having babies, if loved ones are having babies, if your nursery at your church has babies, get your diapers from Every Life, because almost every major baby company in the country rhetorically supports, celebrates, or in some cases financially supports the abortion industry. So the industry that makes more money the more babies Americans have, celebrate and fund the killing of their future clientele base. make it make sense. That's the woke mind virus that has to be defeated. And one of the ways we defeat it is through capitalism, baby. It's Americans using their wallet to shop in alignment with their values. Get your baby materials and diapers from Every Life Diaper. Go to everylife.com, use promo code Seth10, Seth10. My wife and I use Every Life diapers and wipes. They're great. Everylife.com, promo code Seth10 for 10% off your first order, and to let them know that we sent you, and in so doing, you're supporting the Seth Gruber Show and the White Rose Resistance as well. Everylife.com, promo code Seth10. Thank you, Every Life Diaper. Yeah, that's right. Newsflash, Seth Gruber says pro-choicers are mostly sexists. That's right. To treat mothers and women as so intrinsically weak of soul and spirit that when faced with difficulties, they can't do anything but arrange the murder of their own preborn children, who in the vast majority of cases created that baby consensually. We know the stats on the abortions in case of rape. Most women don't get abortions because they were raped. Most women who get abortions were not raped, which means they consented to sex, which, newsflash, oh my gosh, consent to sex is consent to pregnancy. Just like consent to eating donuts for every meal for 5 years is consent to obesity. There's an underlying relationship between the action you're engaging in and the conclusion that you end up realizing. Have sex, consent to be getting pregnant. Oh my gosh. But you see, apparently these women are so weak, right? That they have to go kill their babies. They can't just like be an adult, right? And ask for help, ask help from a local church, or get 2 jobs. You know how many women, single mothers, work multiple jobs because the degenerate deadbeat boyfriend isn't in the picture? Hey, I'm all for laws that force dads to pay child support to the babies and the mothers whose their sexual acts are the reason that there's a baby in the picture. I'm all for forcing them to pay child support. I love that idea, okay? It also communicates the humanity of the children who deserve support because they're human beings, okay? But listen, many moms work very hard to provide, okay? You can do it. You can do it. You don't have to kill your baby. But that's how The Atlantic frames this, right? It's like it's such a tragedy that she had to go do this. No, she didn't have to go do this. And actually, I think you, Helen Lewis, are somewhat of a sexist in how you view females. That they need this in order to achieve female entitlement and equality. Okay? So, again, the framing of this actually says a lot more than even the content. So she died on the table. That's what The Atlantic says. Her mother was waiting outside. She had no idea, writes The Atlantic, that her daughter's condition had been life-threatening. She hadn't understood why Amber had said to her on the way into surgery, "Promise me you'll take care of my son." 2 years after Thurman's death, Georgia's official maternal mortality review committee has concluded that it was preventable and that she would have had a good chance of surviving if she'd been given a D&C earlier. So pause. I don't know anything about the doctors because the Atlantic doesn't go into it. The doctors who, when she was at the hospital, did not perform the D&C. I don't know why they didn't do that, but how is that the fault of pro-life legislators? How is that the fault of pro-life legislators in Georgia who significantly curtailed the time frame in which you can kill a baby? It sounds like maybe they're bad doctors and they should have performed a D&C right away. Okay, that might be malfeasance in some way, but that's not, they weren't killed by the Dobbs decision, by the overturning of Roe. Atlantic continues and says, former President Trump, who appointed half of the 6-justice majority in Dobbs, keeps claiming that everyone wanted Roe to be overturned. But this isn't true. This young mother should be alive, raising her son and pursuing her dreams of attending nursing school, Kamala Harris noted in a statement responding to the ProPublica investigation. Thurman's story plays out in every country where abortion is banned. Women will still seek abortions, but now they do so in dangerous or unsafe conditions, or with inadequate medical supervision. They lie to their friends and family about where they are going, drive or fly for hours to seek care, and then return home, possibly bleeding heavily. So this argument has been used for decades, right? that like if abortion's made illegal, women will be forced into dangerous back alley abortion clinics and dangerous illegal procedures because women are going to kill their babies anyways. Remember, that's Helen Lewis, this stupid woman at the Atlantic. She believes women are so weak that they will always try to kill their children. You sexist. And so because they'll always try to kill their children because women are apparently so weak in America, they can't just figure out a way and get help and not kill babies. That they're going to end up getting harmed through kind of dangerous illegal abortions because the pro-lifers got their way and overturned Roe. So this talking point of like, you know, if you overturn Roe, if you ban abortion, women will die, and so their deaths are the responsibility of pro-lifers. That's been an argument that's been peddled and used for decades. Okay. It's also, the argument also refuses to deal with the heart of the matter, right? Which is what? The unborn babies. The unborn babies. If the baby has a right to life, then they have a right to life, okay? Like, you can't argue that it's wrong to ban abortion because women will be harmed by trying to kill babies illegally. Okay? It refuses to deal with the fact that the child is a child. So like most pro-abortion arguments, the argument assumes that the unborn child is not a human being. And like, here's what I mean by this. Imagine for a second that that someone said, okay, let's say you got two bank robbers cruising around Kansas City, Missouri, and they've been robbing banks, right? And these bank robbers are getting harmed in the process of breaking the law, right? They're robbing banks and they're stealing from people, right? They're breaking the law, they're stealing, they're harming people. But sometimes, a law-abiding citizen steps in and tries to prevent them, all right? Or a security guard shoots a bank robber. So bank robbers are getting killed in the process of doing something illegal and immoral. They're breaking the law by robbing and stealing, and it's immoral to steal from people. And so here's the solution, guys. You know what we got to do? We have to legalize bank robbery because bank robbers are getting killed or harmed in the process of robbing banks and breaking the law. And so let's say, a law-abiding citizen steps up and shoots one of the bank robbers as he attempts to run away with the money. And now all the Democrat Party comes up and says, we have to protect the lives of these lawbreakers. I mean, they're getting harmed breaking the law. So let's legalize bank robbery. I mean, that sounds like a very stupid suggestion and solution because it is. Because it is, okay? You see, they fail to prove or argue that the unborn child is not a human being, that they're not a person, that they don't deserve protections. They just assume the child is not a human being by focusing on the harm done to those killing the baby. I know, here's a solution. What if mothers didn't go to kill their babies? Then maybe they wouldn't accidentally get harmed through the operations, the abortions, and then the baby would be protected too. So, hey, moms, if you don't want to endanger your life and health by getting illegal abortions, don't get illegal abortions. Okay. So notice all of the political and philosophical pretzels that the left twists themselves into to focus on anything but the status of the unborn, that they're human beings. Okay. But it's important to actually get into some of the real facts and data because the rest of this Atlantic article is going to get into how dangerous it is for women when you ban abortion. And a lot of this is based on an old statistic and that you may or may not have heard peddled about by the abortion industry, but it's very popular. It's very popular. You'll see it in reporting all the time. You'll hear it come from the lips of Planned Parenthood presidents and high-ranking abortion leaders on the left. Here it is. Are you ready? They will argue that childbirth is 14 times more dangerous than abortion. Or flip that on its head. Abortion is 14 times safer than childbirth. What do they mean? They mean it is always safer to get an abortion if you're a pregnant mother than to give birth naturally. So they use that lie to say, now especially when states are moving to ban abortion and abortions are becoming more difficult to procure, then more women are going to die, right? because they're being forced into childbirth, which, as we know from the statistics, is more dangerous than going up her vaginal canal with forceps or a suction catheter tube and ripping limbs off the baby, or giving her a poison pill, RU486 abortion pill, that kills the baby in the womb. The stat that women are 14 times less likely to die from abortion than childbirth is cited as the rationale for opposing the banning of abortion. And it's based on what is known as the Raymond and Grimes paper published in 2012. But the statistical foundation of the Raymond and Grimes paper is completely useless, okay? Maternal mortality statistics are collected in all 50 states as mandated by law and reported to the CDC, and include any death of a woman from any cause from the time of her pregnancy test as positive until 6 weeks after the delivery, and is reported as the number of deaths per 100,000 live births. Okay, the number of deaths, maternal mortality deaths, per 100,000 live births. The data on maternal mortality is much more solid and consistently reported by all states. Abortion mortality, however, when reported, only includes direct causes. Also, because abortions are performed on pregnant women, when they die as a result of the abortion, it is also reported as a maternal mortality and is thus counted in both categories. So a lot of the statistics regarding maternal mortality from pregnancy is very, very difficult to argue. Abortion reporting, okay, is not consistent at all, meaning any reporting on abortion from the killing of the babies to its impact on women. 4 states do not report any information on abortion to the CDC. 22 states do not report abortion complications for the mother. And those 28 that do require it cannot enforce the requirement. There is no reason to believe that the numbers of abortion deaths are accurately known, and no reason to accept a conclusion such as theirs when there is no data to reliably argue that. Now, to have accurate abortion death rates, you would have to have a system that links records for pregnancy treatments, including abortion, to death certificates. That is currently not done on a national basis in America. However, a study of 173,279 records for low-income women in California did exactly that, and found that abortion is not 14 times safer than childbirth, but in that low-income women in California, abortion is associated with a 1.62 increase in relative risk of death as compared to non-aborting women. This data was available at the time that the Raymond and Grimes paper was written, but was purposely excluded, okay? Do you understand the significance of that? So the one paper, the only paper that is used as the basis to argue that abortion is safer than childbirth purposely excluded data in California that showed that abortion is not safer than childbirth, but abortion is associated with a 1.62 increase in relative risk of death compared to women who are not obtaining abortions. Countries in Europe, such as Finland, by the way, that have centralized record systems because of more socialized medicine, which we're not a fan of, but they have better control over their data. Studies in Finland have been done showing and illustrating the method that we talked about, linking death certificates to treatments for pregnancy. And more than 6 papers have been published about that. All of them found an elevated risk of mortality from abortion as compared to mortality from delivery, as high as 4-fold. Now, remember, the abortion industry and the libs are always talking about, we need universal health care. We need socialized medicine. All right, well, I'm going to Finland to look at socialized medicine, and I'm looking at their data. Their data shows in as many as 6 different papers that not only is abortion safer than childbirth, but abortion is 4 times more dangerous than delivering the child. All studies which can be found that have linked data in this manner show that abortion is more likely to cause death than childbirth. Now, why is all of this significant? Because The Atlantic is basing their article on sort of an assumption that childbirth is more dangerous than abortion, right? Because they're saying these women have been killed by the Dobbs decision, that pro-life laws are killing women, that when this happens, women die, right? Let me read this line again, right? After Thurman's death, Georgia's official maternal mortality review committee had concluded that this was preventable. So it's pro-life laws that are leading to maternal mortalities, to women dying. The Atlantic continues and says, having to travel for an abortion raises the risk of the procedure enormously. Until abortion was legalized in Ireland and Northern Ireland in 2018, women went covertly to England. Polish women travel to the Netherlands. In El Salvador, where anti-abortion laws are so strict that women have been jailed for natural miscarriages and premature births, the rich fly to Miami for terminations. Around the world, women denied access to abortion care seek do-it-yourself solutions. ProPublica reported today on a Georgia woman in the situation, Candy Miller, who died after procuring abortion pills online. The mother of 3 had an autoimmune disease and other medical conditions that substantially increased the health risks of pregnancy. It's interesting. They're saying that like women are dying now because of complications from the abortion pill. So wouldn't it have been better if we had just kept surgical abortions legal? Do you know that the reporting and data has actually showed that the abortion pill is 4 times more dangerous than surgical abortions? That's right. Here's some of the data actually kind of behind some of the stuff. The lies around the abortion pill are quite shocking, by the way. Danco Laboratories, the manufacturer of the abortion pill, was supposed to report all serious adverse events from women taking the abortion pill to the FDA. But in order for Danco to have data about adverse events, the abortionist would have to have reported them to Danco. And there is no way to know that this was or is being done. Any care for post-abortive complications and problems that is being given by private, non-abortionist OBGYNs or in the emergency rooms is unlikely to have been ever reported to Danco. And the majority of such care is rendered in those settings, so that the data that Danco has reported to the FDA cannot be considered to be complete or comprehensive in any way. Do you understand what I'm saying? That when women have complications from the abortion pill, they usually don't go back to the abortionist, okay, or the abortion physician. They go to an emergency room or their primary care physician. And so all of those complications aren't being reported to Danco because only the abortion providers are required to report it to Danco in the first place. But despite these limitations, the study was undertaken by the American Association of Pro-Life Obstetricians and Gynecologists, APLOG, and they requested the adverse events reports regarding mifepristone from the FDA. The FDA gave the American Associations of Pro-Life Obstetricians 6,158 pages of adverse events reports. They then excluded duplicate reports and reports from outside the United States, okay? This left them with 3,197 reports, of which 537 had insufficient data for meaningful analysis. This left them with 2,660 remaining reports. A standardized system was used to analyze the seriousness of the complications by a panel of physicians who agreed to review the records. 2,243 women required surgery to treat complications of the abortion pill, and more than 60% of those were done by MDs other than the ones who provide abortion services. Nearly 2/3 of the women whose reported complications required surgery had to seek care outside of the abortion clinic, meaning 2/3 of the women that had to have surgery after the abortion pill did not go back to the provider. They went to a physician outside of the abortion clinic who would not have reported the data. So when the abortion industry says the abortion pill's super safe, they don't even have a statistical basis to reliably say that, okay? Planned Parenthood has, in court cases, criticized efforts to provide abortion pill reversals, the abortion pill reversal, for being off-label use of progesterone. Progesterone is just a medication that the abortion industry has actually used in transgender treatments. And they say that's wonderful and safe when they sell it. But if progesterone is used by pro-lifers to reverse the effects of the abortion pill, they say that's super dangerous and can't be trusted. Do you see all of the lies behind all of the reporting on abortion and abortion safety to women, okay? So data in Finland has actually shown, also in Finland, right, that the abortion pill, the RU486 abortion pill, is up to 4 times more dangerous than surgical abortions. than surgical abortions. But the Atlantic here is framing this like, well, oh my gosh, this woman, Candy Miller, had to get abortion pills online because of the surgical abortions and brick and mortar abortion centers disappearing in Georgia. And now she's facing health risks because of that. Right, because the abortion pill is even more dangerous. And that's what the Planned Parenthood abortion industry and the left are pushing right now, is the abortion pill. Did you know Cecile Richards, the president of Planned Parenthood from 2019, once wrote in a Los Angeles Times opinion editorial that, actually, June 13th, 2018, apologies. She said that medication abortion is safe by all measures, safer even than Tylenol. So that's some of the lies that allows the Atlantic to say some of these ridiculous things. They go on basically for the rest of the article, and they just mourn about how pro-lifers are killing women, that women are being forced into getting dangerous back alley abortion clinics or dangerous abortion pills, which I'm confused because the abortion industry told me the abortion pill's safer, actually. Why? All because pro-lifers are starting to ban abortions at the state level. Lastly, we have to touch on one part of this lie. The abortion industry is responsible for killing 630,000 babies last year through the abortion pill. So they are pushing all of their focus, not on surgical abortions anymore, but on the medication 2 regimen abortion pill, mifepristone and misoprostol, or Mifeprex and misoprostol. And they're arguing that we need to sue pregnancy centers, some of which are under lawsuits right now, because these pregnancy centers are providing the abortion pill reversal, the reversal to the effects of the abortion pill. What the abortion industry has succeeded in doing is banning ads for the abortion pill reversal because they say progesterone, this natural hormone, which can reverse the effects of the abortion pill, is so dangerous for the moms, for the mothers. The only evidence and study they can point to argue is a study by Mitchell Creenan in San Diego, who, by the way, is an abortionist. Okay. Mitchell Creenan did a study attempting to prove that abortion pill reversal does not work. And get ready for it, is super dangerous to women. There it is again, right? It's everything pro-lifers do that endanger the lives of women. But the abortion industry, they don't endanger the lives of women at all. And the baby, who cares, right? It's not a person, allegedly. And so the Mitchell Creenan study allegedly looked into the use of the abortion pill reversal. And they said that when women take the abortion pill and then they take progesterone, APR, abortion pill reversal, that women started hemorrhaging and bleeding. And so abortionist researcher Mitchell Creenan said he had to halt his study because so many women were hemorrhaging in his study examining the abortion pill reversal. Guess what the truth was? The only women that hemorrhaged and needed surgery were the women who took the first regimen of the abortion pill, but did not receive progesterone, did not receive the abortion pill reversal. So his study, which was used by the Beast, what's that Beast reporting agency, which was cited in a study by the Center for Countering Digital Hate, which Google cited when they said they were banning abortion, was all based on a lie. That study actually shows that women are safer if they take the abortion pill reversal. So the people saying to you that pro-lifers are killing women right now, newsflash, guess what? The very things that pro-lifers could provide to women to help them reverse their abortions are safer, and all of this is just smoke and mirrors. All of this is just lies. We could say so much more about this, but that's a brief treatment right now on The Atlantic. Newsflash, journalistic prostitutes for the culture of death in the mainstream media are killing women through misinformation. That's how the left and the mainstream media covers these stories. It's absolutely disgusting. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today. Head on over to Rumble. Please subscribe there. Please subscribe at Rumble until YouTube digitally assassinates me. Go screen the 1916 Project at your church. Go to the1916project.com. Host a screening. Pick up the book that will rock your world and rip your face off. The 1916 Project, The Lying, the Witch, and the War We're In. And to join the White Rose Resistance, go to thewhiterose.life and join us as an ally at $35 a month or air support at $70 a month, okay? Get your battle box in the mail. Join our digital community with courses and curriculum and live calls. Go share this episode. Go share the clips of this on social media to debunk these lies right now from our journalistic betters and prostitutes for the culture of death in the activist media. Until next week, I'm Seth Gruber, and this is The Seth Gruber Show.